Need to start doing some workshop upgrades soon. It's getting pretty neglected, but made a start with my drill bit rack, and it's a massive improvement, so it's inspiring me to do some. Did buy a new coil of airline, but got it all wired down the back there, and 2 days later the fitting blew off the hose, so we had to get it replaced. So just got to quickly replace all that. Just one of them frustrating things that you spend the time to do something and you just end up redoing it. I'd have been better off leaving it how it was. So yeah, you want your airline across the other side of the workshop. Instead of dragging it out the thing, just drop it off the loop, drop it on the floor and pull. And you've instantly got an airline that doesn't need clicking into position. What I tend to do when I've got worked out where I want my loops, I just put a bit of like coloured insulation tape, so when you're wrapping it back up, you just grab it on the three, however many loops of colour you've got. Anyway, we're not on site today because the weather is horrendous and I need to do a few more bits in the workshop before we get over there. So this is what we're going to get up to today. So on this drawing of all the oak framing, we ended up getting these bits installed yesterday. So the bits over here, those 4 posts and the 3 posts behind it are all fitted and sort of hanging in suspension at the minute. So what we need to do is crack on so we can render this outside of this porch or outside of this extension before the winter comes. So I basically want to get as much of any interaction between this extension and the oak in place so that it can be rendered, or they know what they're going to be rendering up to. So we need some, like a lead line in the silicon render up here and around here to get this beam in place, this ridge beam wall plate beam in place. I've got to cut that, so I've got a 6 metre beam and a bit to go on the end, so we'll need to make a joint to join them together, and then we need to get a rafter on site so that we can have this angle of the roof here for the roofer to cut them lead plates in place. So we're working on getting that ready today. So timbers that need scarfing are behind there, so I've got to get this out and get a bit of a work area set up again to do this job. Nice out today. Just been checking the lengths of my beams. I've got around 500mm for the joints to do these splices on all the wall plates. So I'm going to do them all the way along the garage as well. So make another little jig up to suit 500mm. So it's going to work along from the end of this board, square a line over at that 500. I'm going to come in from the edge 60mm, both sides, so 225 less 60. That's my 2 points of my scarf joint. And they want to be slightly away from 90 degrees. If they're 90 degrees, it's easy for it to pivot and pull out. If this is really shallow, when you wedge it together, it really pulls it in tight into that joint, but it's also a little bit weaker. It's acting more like a wedge on this piece of grain. It's more likely to snap it off. So bit of a judgment call on that one, but I'm just going to cast my ruler between these 2 points. So a 50mm rule going to put it on the top side of this one and the bottom side of this one like that. So draw on the top side up to there, and the bottom side as well. That should give me a little bit of a wedge room socket for my scarf joint. And I'll just set my bevel up here for these end cuts. So if I cut this jig out to that line there, and make this piece on every beam, when I rotate it, they should slot together, leave a little gap in the middle to tap them up and pull that joint nice and tight. Doesn't really need a scarf joint because it's bolted to the garage wall, but I want to just make this a really neat joint so that everything pulls together tight, and you can't really do that with a big beam when you're on site and then bolt it to the wall. So just this joint is literally for me just to pull everything together so it looks nice and sharp and nice and tight when it's in place. So this is my big beam. So this end is going to be the square end up against the wall. We want the scarf down there. That's a little bit annoying. We'd ordered all this planed, but the longest one, the most awkward one, isn't bloody planed all round. So it's like two 35mm in the middle and 220 down here. So I'm going to sort that out now on my own. Brilliant. This really isn't the right tool for the job, but I'm just going to clean up this bottom edge and then see what happens after that. Just get a pass down it once. Some of these lumps. Right, see if it blocks up. Got the beast on it, 36mm hose. Let me guess, the bag's full. The bag is not full. Mouldy. Must have sucked up some damp shavings and not used that hoover for a while. Look at that. I have to wash my hands now. I'll grab that. Oh dear. Yeah, I think she needs a bit of love. Yeah, I wonder if I took a load of shavings and wash the dishes in them. Looks a treat, that. Right, now that's straight and planed, I'm just rip it down with a HK, I think. Somebody said about the tilting of this fence. If I do it the other way up, give it a try. Hang on. It's the bottom of the fence will stop the saw from tilting. So you still couldn't use, how would you'd have to have another piece of timber on the outside sticking below your bit of fence to guide your saw straight. But that fence will stop the saw from tilting. So it would work, you just need a bit clamped on the edge to then give you a fence to run to. Just took the corners out with the chisel there. Could be really sneaky here, and to get a really tight joint line on the face of that beam, turn it over, use the same template, but just nudge it back a little bit, and then when I use the 50mm, it's going to be what, half a mil deeper offset. So the face will come really tight, guaranteed, and there'll just be a tiny gap at the back. So yeah, just nudged that jig over. I've got like half a mil of recess. This is my finished edge and this is against the wall. So I've just undercut it very slightly. And then this bit here where it's the wrong way, I'll just chisel that little bit off. And everything should be golden, should match up nice then. That's 2 of them cut. I think I can lay them out flat if I put the long one down on this beam and then the other one rested on there and have the joint around here. Should work out pretty nice. For a slick bit of camera working. Oh, it's got to be worth a like and a comment. It's a knob playing off that end, isn't it? Down the length of it, it's pretty straight. Somehow I keep tapping the phone to think it's recording and it's not recording. So I don't know what's going on with that. But I just got to make up some wedges for this. And one of these wedges has got to go into the butt, goes back against the wall, and I've got to tap one in from the face because it's going to be on the wall when this goes together. So I don't want it to bottom out on the wall, but I equally don't want it to be too slim and not pull it together. So this has got to be spot on. I just used a wedge there. I used a block of wood to cut a wedge out of a parallel piece there, and that one will sit in ready against the wall. No, wrong way around. This one can sit in ready against the wall, and then this one is the right width of the beam, so it won't bottom out on the brickwork. You should be able to tap them together. Pull them joints up. There we go, it's pretty nice. If I go to the other end and wiggle it, so let's see if it moves. Well, happy. There's a little bit of movement there, let's tap him in a bit more. I'm pretty happy with that. Got to sort this shed out, it's leaking. Only leaks in like a gap between the shed that's got nothing in it. When the guy spec'd the shed, he said, oh, we'll put a gutter this end, it's like a 4-inch gutter, and one the other end, and we questioned it and said, oh, it'll more than take that amount of rain off them roofs. And it's nowhere near enough, and they never really sorted it. I think what we need to do is, that's like the bottom of the gutter, this silver bit you can see just under that piece of wood. we're going to get a piece of gutter folded that's a much bigger and come to the bottom of this steel. We've got a really deep box between the two sheds, so it would take an awful lot of water, and then add in another down right here where there used to be one. And there's a drain down here anyway, so that should solve our water problems, but it's just another job that needs doing when we've already paid for someone to do it. Rah. Spotty's not bothered about the rain. Yeah. Spot's face just sums up for the...
Yeah, it's a lot. Depression and pity.
So yeah, when I stand that up, look, you can see the back edge. It's got a very slight undercut to it. But the front and the bottom, which we're going to see against the wall, is lovely and tight. These beams have all gone yellow where they've been sat together and sat wet. It's a bit of a shame. So hopefully if the weather's a bit better tomorrow, I can take them beams over and start looking at getting them bolted to the wall and work out, levels for the top of the roof. Get that beam bolted to the wall with some packers so the render can go behind it, and that'll be a good job done, good start to the roof and holding it all together. Would have been nice to have like another 3 or 4 days on the making, but it's just how the weather's falling and what help I've got at what time. I'm having to get what I need to do done with the help I've got, and then sort the rest of it out afterwards. So it's creating a bit of a headache in terms of moving kit around and making sure everything's ready and I've got everything. But it's just how jobs go, and if I make it look too smooth and easy on the videos and forget and don't show any of that side of the job, then I think it'll put people off that do take jobs on and then get frustrated because these things happen and you need to work around them, and it's bloody hard work, to be honest. So you just got to keep beavering away and do the best with what you got, and I think we're getting there. We're making good progress, and we'll get them things on tomorrow hopefully, and it'll be another step closer to being finished. The main problem we've got is running out of summertime and decent weather for applying the render on the outside of that building. So there's a few bits I've got to do for the oak for him to get lead, like the lead trims housed into the brickwork. And then there's quite a bit to do on the front door canopy, which you'll see probably in a few days. I've got some work to do on that so that it's ready for render as well. So I've done a bigger video on the front door canopy, and in the process of working through the edit on that one. Because the canopy's not finished, I don't know whether to release that video now or wait till it's completely finished. I'll have to think about that one.